Hello dear tea friends from around the world. Welcome to a new class with me, Stéphane Erler. I'm the founder of the Tea Masters blog and the tea-masters.com tea boutique in Taiwan. Today's lesson is the 7th. In this winter we are studying high oxidation oolongs and red teas, so fully oxidized teas. This class is available in my selection in the sampler category on my website, and I hope that you will enjoy this lesson and the teas. Today is one of my favorite, and it has again a link to Oriental Beauty, a tea we have studied 4 times very extensively in the course of these classes this winter, and this one is called Concubine Oolong. Also in Chinese it's called Guifei Oolong, and from the name we already hear a link to Oriental Beauty. Oriental Beauty, the name is meant to give us a feeling of a beautiful woman, and of course concubine evokes one of the consorts of the emperor. They did not dare call it Empress Oolong. It would have been maybe over the top, especially they did not want to take umbrage to the Oriental Beauty. Maybe she's the Empress, and so Guifei is a second rank, more humble name for this tea, but as a reference to a very feminine tea. And when we look at it, actually it does not look at all like an Oriental Beauty. Actually this shape, this color, much more reminds us of Dongding Oolong. And the Dongding Oolongs we have studied in the fall in my previous set of classes. I refer you to these classes to understand what is Dongding Oolong. And so concubine actually Oolong starts also in Dongding, and it's the answer to the problem that the farmers had. What are we doing when we are not making good Dongding Oolong? There is a Dongding Oolong competition in the spring. This started in 1976, and then in 1983 they also started to have a winter competition for Dongding Oolongs. But what about summer? What about fall? The plants in Dongding are giving leaves that are harvested, but the farmers did not find a good way to make use of these leaves. They had to sell them mostly rather cheaply to the beverage industry to make these bottled teas, and so cheaper teas. And the farmers felt, this is a pity, we have such nice tea gardens, and if only we could turn these tea into something more valuable in the summer and in the fall. So they in the early 2000s there were lots of meetings between the farmers of Dongding and the farmers from Hsinchu who produce Oriental Beauty. Actually, I have even one of my Oriental Beauty supplier was one of these instructors who went to Dongding, and they really gave them the idea, told them how to make sure that these little green insects that are biting the leaves of Oriental Beauty in the summer and fall, that these would also be there in Dongding, in Lugu, in this larger region, so that they would be also able to make a more interesting tea in these warmer seasons, one that is bitten by these insects, which creates a natural defense by the plant and which turns the aromas into something much sweeter and especially much more honey-like. And after several seasons of trials, I reported this already in the year 2005 or 2006. They were able to make their first Grey-Fay Oolong, Concubine Oolong, and it started therefore in Lugu in Dongding. In my blog I still have the pictures from the plantation in Dongding where it all started by a farmer called Mr. Zhang. And once this tea got popular, it was of course imitated everywhere in Taiwan where it was possible to make, and that's why today we are lucky to be able to try this Concubine Oolong from Shan Lin Xi. And it's not even a concubine that is made in summer or fall, but one that is made even in the spring. In some years, when the temperature is high enough, the insects are already present early on, and this is the case in this plantation. So the leaves look very much like a traditional Hongshui Dongding Oolong. They are very tightly rolled, they are oxidized and also roasted. Here the difference is with the competition Oolong, you would take away most of the stems. Here the stems are still present. That's a bit the difference, because there are no large Concubine Oolong competitions, as from what I know, but so therefore they don't have the pressure to take away the stems like is the habit in the Dongding competition. Okay, I'm not using too many because in Taiwan it's already a bit late. It's past 10, so I don't want to have trouble falling asleep. Now, since this tea is very tightly rolled, I'm giving it a bit stronger swirl to make it dense, and full water almost to the top of the gaiwan, so that I can see also the color changing. And now I'm going to wait a while. This is a very high quality tea, so I'm really not afraid of oversteeping it. Actually, the stronger, the more power and the more flavors, and therefore the better. With this tea is really not a problem at all. So we'll wait patiently that the leaves unfold, open up, and then we will be able to look at the color of the brew and also at the leaves, and they are going to tell us a certain story, and we want to analyze them, not to make up our own judgment. That's why these classes are made, so that you can see how I'm brewing it, and then you can try to find your own words to put on the feelings that you will experience when you are drinking this tea. This week I saw a very nice video of a championship for wine sommelier, and the winner is a young man who is working at the Crillon, one of the top hotels, 5-star hotel in Paris, and he was able to describe the flavors, the color, the nose, etc. of the wine in such a way that on social media people really said, wow, this guy is making poetry when describing the wine. And this is what I feel we should also be inspired to do when we are drinking tea. We are like a sommelier, and we try to understand what we are drinking, We try to analyze it, but also we try to find the most accurate words, but in a way that really enhances the experience and brings out the most from our vocabulary we possess, and also try to connect this to certain feelings we have. So watching a top sommelier actually inspired me to be more accurate when describing a tea, because this is an exercise that is really very helpful for you to understand the tea that you are drinking, to remember them, and also to share them with your friends, and hopefully they will start to feel the same passion as you about the tea, because you were able to convey this your feelings with the words. And here right away, what I see on top of the brew are little hair. Actually, it's not dust, it's not dirty at all, and this little hair is what we already saw on most Oriental beauties we had in the previous classes. This little hair happen on the buds of tea. You will see them on photographs of buds, so this is a good sign that there were buds present in this tea and not just mature leaves. And the color of the tea has a very nice dark orange and very nice transparency, excellent shine. It already smells very nice. Here you can see my leaves have opened up quite well. The leaves are partially green and red. It's really in the middle, so therefore it's really an oolong. Here I have one very large leaf, which is a bit more. That one is particularly green, but I think this one is more like what most are, and we can see it's quite bitten, quite attacked, and quite. So they are probably not just the small tea acids, but also other insects present on this plantation. The leaves are quite thick, also a good sign that they have absorbed a lot of nutrients from the ground. Yes, these leaves are really partially oxidized. And let's try to taste. Very nice sweetness, purity, a slight sourness that turns into something sweet right away. I detect no bitterness, really. And at the end, the aftertaste is very clean, and the smells are very persistent, fruity and honey-like. It's not as perfume-like like the imperial grade Oriental Beauty we had at the beginning of these classes, but it has really a good harmony between these honey scents and the tea scents created by the high oxidation of this tea. This is a Qingxing Oolong plantation in Shan Lin Xi in Yankeng. It was harvested on the 9th of May. So 1,300 meters maybe in elevation. And really beautiful how these exotic smells of maybe also caramel, fudge, some orange, also they are all very well mingled together, and the taste very refined, very pure, and very long lasting. So really one of my favorite teas. And if you were to use it for tea pairing, this one would really be one of the teas that could replace a red tea, a red wine, even, and with meals that are more flavorful, spicy, like curry. This would be really a very good pairing. So, an excellent tea, and it was therefore invented just 20 years ago, which shows that even though tea is a very traditional product that has been around for centuries, there are still inventions happening, sometimes creativity thanks to applying some methods from one region to another, and then the transfer of this process to different regions. So this Concubine Oolong started in Dongding, but then with its success it spread around Taiwan, now even in the high mountains like in Shan Lin Xi, and not even just in the summer or in the fall, but even in the spring when the weather permits. Also probably because there's a large demand for such type of tea that is creating something new. It has the power of the high mountain. It does not have all the flavory perfume-like intensity of an imperial grade Oriental beauty, but it can really come close to some more regular grade Oriental beauties. So, and what is interesting is that they did not simply try to copy Oriental beauty and make Oriental beauty with Qingxing Oolong. This is something that is actually possible. But what is interesting is in this region they try to continue to use their own process of rolling and roasting the tea, but this time with higher oxidation and with the help of these insects. They were really able to create a tea that is one of the most interesting now creation in the last 20 years. And we saw also already last week that there was this process from the Oriental beauty also led to the invention of a new kind of red tea that also spread to different regions in Taiwan. So thank you very much for your creativity. Even though tea has a long tradition, there are still new teas coming out, and probably it's not the last. Actually, next week we are going to talk about 2 more creations of red tea in Taiwan, Hongyu, and then the week after Hongyun. So stick around, give me a thumbs up if you like this tea class, subscribe to the channel, and see you next week.